CEO, wanna change your life? Come see me, yo. I'ma teach you how to build up wealth for your family, not just for yourself. I'm a bestseller, a house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a goal builder. I can teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychology black on firm, but we ain't all black.
What's up? Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's your girl, Constance Carter, and this is the Grow Your Money podcast, where we talk about how to grow your money and not blow your money, because when you blow your money, it ain't a damn thing funny. What's up? Come on in, my friends. Come on in. Make yourself comfortable. Listen, you guys, go tell your friends. Grow Your Money podcast is on. Y'all know what I'm doing right now. Go tell your friends the Grow Your Money podcast is on. Let them know. We about to talk about some stuff, some ways that you can grow your money. Every time I come live, y'all already know, I'm always going to try to bring you information that you can use. I'm always going to try to give you some information that you can grow on. And so this morning, what's up? I need it all the way from the DMV, Miss Sophia Chambers. What's happening? From Stockton, California. What's happening, everybody? I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I thought, I got to get my life together. I'm not even prepared. But it's Tuesday, and I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm so glad. What you guys do last night? I had the Net 7 Collective last night. So you guys, let me tell you. So we do this. So we have Net 7 Collective. This is a community of women that I coach from all over the country. They do some of everything, right? So I made the Net 7 Collective. It was a 12-week cohort, and I made it into a whole continuum where basically we don't die, we multiply. So as we're continuing to grow the community with different women and bringing more women in, I decided that I wanted to make sure that everybody stayed in action. And so, I made it more than 12 weeks, and I added another day on there. So where I'm teaching them concepts of how to grow their business, but we also have study hall day to where we're actually in action on our business. So we're actually writing another book. We're actually writing children's books right now. And it's so cool. So I taught them the concept of how to write the book last week. So we talked about it. I told them how to develop the characters and develop the book and, all that, get illustrations and everything. And so last night we were actually in action. So that's where we actually do the work. So it's pretty cool. I really enjoy it. These Black women are amazing. So if you are a Black woman or a Black woman and they need a coach, they need somebody that can really help them to increase their net worth to 7 figures, please send them my way, because Net 7 Collective is amazing. That's what I did last night. So I did Net 7 Collective. And then I, selling real estate out here. So I'm actually expanding my real estate business. Good morning, Double A. I'm expanding my real estate business out here to the DMV. I don't know if you know, built the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California. And I took a little bit of a break after my divorce. I kind of took a break from everything real estate. Honestly, to be honest with you, I don't want to have nothing to do with real estate. Honestly, I still, there was still some people that was like, Constance, we only trust you. We only want you. So I'm selling houses from the DMV all the way in California. But I didn't want to. I was trying to give them to other people, and they didn't want to. They didn't want to go nowhere else. So I would do stuff here and there. I had still had a team. I had parked my company under another brokerage, and we were just kind of doing that. But it was really not as active as it had been, just because I had to do some. I had to decide what I wanted to do with this iteration of my life. And so a few months ago, we brought back Catalyst. And so yesterday we had our sales call, and I was just kind of sharing the vision of where I see us really going as a business. And I'm really excited about what we're doing in our expansion into the DMV area. So anybody in the DMV, if you're looking for real estate, or if you're looking for a brokerage, Catalyst is now in the DMV, but we're really active, and we're planning on opening up some offices out here and also in California. So I'm excited about that too. So if you know somebody who wants to purchase property in DC, Maryland, Virginia, or California, let us know, and we can help you with that as well. But that is an alignment. The reason why I'm talking about that is because that's an alignment sort of with what I wanted to talk to you about today with Slutty Vegan, Pinky Cole, and everything that she had been through with her with her business. And I found it fascinating because it happens so often to so many businesses, but we rarely hear about, you know, someone having to do a restructure. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened with her story. But before I do that, I want to bring in my good girlfriend. We're going to talk about it. I want to have an engaging conversation, not only with you, but with her as well. So I want to bring in Miss Jahari. What's
Hey,
happening, Jahari?
good morning. Good morning.
How's it going, darling?
Pretty good, actually. Feeling really good. Business is growing. Catalyst is back on the map. I'm so excited about that. So yeah,
Yeah,
everything
man.
is good.
So
Stockton Kings won their championship. Let's
the
go.
Kings did.
Stockton Kings and the Sacramento Kings are going to the play-in tomorrow. So I'm juiced. It's a good week.
This girl is always about sports. She always talk about sports. In fact, Jahari is getting ready to do her sports podcast, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what's the sports podcast going to be about?
Well, just taking sport team principles and applying them to our everyday life,
Okay.
our work, because it all coincides, right? I'm an athlete. My sport is real estate. My sport is entrepreneurship. So I love that. I love everything sports. I do. I've
Yeah.
always been into that.
I see something on your window, on your mirror. What's that?
Oh, so part of the Net 7 Club last night, we were talking about, things that we visualize, things that we see for ourselves, what we want to do, creative spaces, and to write on the board. So, I'm writing a children's book series. CC loves and Zay does. And on this, it says, I visualize my children's book series to be on Oprah's book club, right? One of her best books. Like that's my visualization, what I see for the books that I've been writing. I love to write. I love all things journalism, writing, talking.
So the great thing about that is that so April actually, so Net 7 Collective, I'm the coach in Net 7 Collective, but April facilitates our April Sampay. If you guys don't know, she comes on here on Wednesdays with me, but she facilitates our study hall. And one of the things she said was, I want you to visualize an impossible goal, like something that people would think was totally impossible, not something that you could actually accomplish, but people would think is so out your big, hairy, audacious goal. Like, what does that look like that nobody would ever think? Because that's how we have to dream. We don't just dream in what we can achieve, that what we know we can achieve. We have to get outside our comfort zone to be able to reach those things that are far beyond reachable. And so that's what I love about just being around this group of ladies. It's like, no, we're not just reaching, we stretching to go beyond what we think is possible. Yeah. Possible is nothing if you believe it, right? So if you have a vision in your mind, then you could actually accomplish it. And so listen, 2020.
When April said that last night, it kind of was quiet for a minute,
Ooh.
When Miss Sampay Foster said that last night, what is impossible? What do you think? And I'm like, it got kind of quiet. Then I'm like, I want my book on Oprah's book club.
Yeah.
Her favorite thing. So.
Right. Absolutely. So, I mean, it won't happen if you can't visualize or dream it. It's never going to happen. If you don't think it's going to happen, it won't. Right. So what you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. And so if you're focusing and you're lining up under it, whatever you dream possible, you could do it. And that's for everybody that's watching too. And that's why Pinky's story is so, do you know anything about Pinky Cole? That's why her story is so, I think it's so interesting because, everybody want to blow up until they actually do. Right. You know what I mean? If you grow too fast, it can actually kill a startup. And so that's what happened. When you grow too fast, when you don't have the proper foundation in place, it could actually kill you. So a lot of times we'll praise overnight success, but we rarely talk about what happens after the morning of the overnight success. So Pinky Cole, she's the founder of Slutty Vegan. And she's a lady of resilience. I saw her video on Earn Your Leisure. And then I saw her on a TED stage where she was just kind of talking about all the things that she did. She's been a hustler from day one. So Jahari, I don't know if you know about startups, right? A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't want to start a business because they have a few fears. Number one, they fear of success. Well, what if I'm successful? Then I can't maintain what it is that I can't maintain the success. Or what if I fail? Or I don't have support, or I don't have the belief or the dream that maybe that I can do it. And so 10% of startups fail within the first year. 10%
I
of
believe it.
startups. Yeah. Yeah.
I believe it.
70% end up failing by year 10, but 10% of startups fail within the first year. So they used to say it was more than that, but it's only 10%. 40, but here's the thing. Only 40% of startups actually turn a profit. So the reason why most of them fail, though, is because they prematurely start scaling. So they're trying to grow much faster than they have the capacity to grow, and that's what happened with her. And so, for me, like with Catalyst, like our growth was always, it wasn't meteoric. Our growth wasn't like this. We
Right.
didn't grow overnight. We became the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California, but it was actually a slow grind. And it actually wasn't until I started investing OPM, other people's money, into the business that we seen, it grow even a lot faster. But we were just steady as a pace. First year, we were top 10 in Stockton. Then we we started selling more and more and more, and then we became the largest in the state of California. But thank God that we were able to make the mistakes that we made. They didn't hit us as hard because, we were building the foundation as we were growing. So, startups, they're exciting, they're disruptive, they're sexy, but a lot of them crash because they scale too fast.
Yeah, it's scary trying to start up a whole business, right? Start a company. It's really scary. You got to get a good coach, right?
Yeah. Coaching is imperative. So let me ask you guys a question. So if your business doubled tomorrow, so for the entrepreneurs that are listening, if you own a company, if your business doubled tomorrow, right? So how Keith Lee goes around and he's testing all these restaurants. If you have a business and it doubled tomorrow, could you handle the capacity?
I have a good team. I'm with a good company with Catalyst Real Estate. So I think we'd find a way. Again, I have a good coach. I have a really good coach. I have good coaching. And, the biggest thing I think for me would be fear, right? Like fear if I'm going to fail, if I'm not going to do a good job, believing in myself. But then like I said, I have a good coach. I have a good team. And so
you have the foundation, you have the team that'll be able to support you. Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So even for I think Anita, you have a business. I forget what your business was, or for Naomi, or for the folks who've expressed that they have businesses in the audience. If your business doubled tomorrow, so Lovely JR said yes. If your business doubled tomorrow, would you be able to sustain your business? And that is the thing, is like everybody wants their business to grow, but many would say, Flauschen, I wouldn't say not without good team members. And so if you don't have good team members already, are you prepared if your business doubled? And that's what many people. So a few years back, maybe in 2018, Arian Simone, which she actually shouted Arian out on the Earn Your Leisure podcast. Arian Simone invited me over to Facebook to speak. We were at Facebook, and there was a lady named Sophia Russo. Sophia Russo, same situation as Pinky. She had $100 million business. She grew super fast. $100 million. I always said yes. $100 million. They did I think they did a Lifetime movie about her. Her clothing line is called Nasty Gal. Have you ever heard of Nasty Gal? I hadn't, but my daughter had. Nasty Gal. So she had this clothing line. She was in her 20s, and it just skyrocketed. Now she's in her 20s. She's a CEO. And it just got so big so quick. She didn't know how to manage. She didn't know what she was doing as a CEO. So she was trying to CEO. And then a lot of things happened. But a big thing was there was a toxic work environment. Right. She created a toxic work environment. She's young. She don't know. And she went from $100 million to bankruptcy.
Wow.
So, that does happen. It's not anything that's uncommon. The good thing about what happened with Pinky is she didn't go into bankruptcy. She had to do a restructuring, though, which is almost like a bankruptcy, but it's not. They don't call it a bankruptcy. But she was able to pay her investors back. I think she just had to restructure her business. But what happened was I think she had $10 million going out, or so much going out and not enough coming in. So she had her overhead was too high.
Mm.
And so what she ended up doing is she ended up having to put it in like a receivership. So she had to sell it, and then she had to bid for it back. So there were other investors that were willing to bid it, but she was like, this is my business, this is my brand. I can, you can't buy the business without me. So she was able to buy the business back. So she lost the business, but then she turned around and purchased the business back. And I think it was like in 30, 40 days or something like that. She didn't tell us why she was going through it. This just happened back in February and March. Between January and March, this just happened. She just had to restructure. So all these things happened. She closed a bunch of businesses. She was on Spelman's campus. Spelman closed Slutty Vegan down, didn't even tell her that they was closing down. So that kind of, took her back. She was like, yo, y'all not even gonna tell me. But, at the end of the day, it's business, right? Business is business. But I think also, ain't nobody paying $25 for a vegan burger. So the price point is really high as well. And that's a thing too, right? But people are buying. People are waiting 2 hours to get a $25 burger. And I think, it's the first time like the novelty begins to wear off after a certain period of time. Because how many times you gonna pay $25 for a freaking burger, right?
Right, but she did create something that other people were willing to invest in, right? So
Yes.
She did create a great brand, an amazing brand, to where she was able to market herself and still stay in the business, right? So a restructure is necessary,
Yeah. And that's the great thing though. That's the great thing about her story though, is that she is the brand. She knows that she's the brand, and she's a branding genius. And so she created, like, think about it. How many burger joints are there? Like, how many vegan burger joints are there? So and I've been to Slutty Vegan, and Slutty Vegan is cool. You go in there and they do all that, whatever, and so it's really fun. It's really cool. It's a concept. It's a novelty concept. It's cool. But she created this brand. She created this experience. Now, are people like that? Because I was actually, it was the Atlanta one. And so my friend Raheem Shabazz, I was doing his podcast. His studio is right across the street from there. So how many people are going to go back to back? How many people in the neighborhood are going to keep eating there? Probably not. It's probably going to be your people who, just kind of, it's a tourist thing, right? So the people from out of town, I was like, oh, yo, I want to get me a Slutty Vegan burger, but it's not going to be your people that are coming over there to eat once a week or even every day. And actually, when I went over there, it was completely empty. There was no 2-hour line. It was completely empty. But I think what she is she's a marketing genius. So you guys, this is something that you could take. Think about this. You have an idea, which there's nothing new under the sun, but what can you do differently to market your business so that it can stand out? So they asked me, I think, if I wanted to get sluttified. I wish I had the video. I have the video somewhere on my phone. If I wanted to get sluttified, everything is about, and then, she has like a one night stand and all these things. Like, her marketing is impeccable. Like her burgers are impeccable. I mean, her marketing for her names are impeccable. So it's the brand, right? The food's not bad, but it's more so the brand. So as you're building your businesses, entrepreneurs, because that's what we need to do. That's what we need to be doing now. What are you doing that's going to be different that makes you stand out?
Good question. Well, you have to know your niche, right? And really play into who you are marketing to, right? So what would make me stand out as a realtor, right? Those are the type of questions I have to ask myself. Well, I love sports, right? So like I said earlier, just putting those two together, and then people who will resonate with me, who speak that language, who understands what I'm talking about, who want to be motivated, who have those same type of passions and alignment, right? So you just have to know yourself, be authentic to who you are and what you believe in your product.
Absolutely. And that's really understanding who your audience is. And these are the things that I teach inside Net 7 Collective. Even I might have a training coming up to show business owners how to speak. It's called Monetize Your Message. But these are the things that I teach people is how do you really stand out in a crowd where everybody's the same, or there are 20 of you, because there's nothing new under the sun. You are who, so like you're a real estate agent. It's 100,000 you motherfuckers. What are you doing different? right? What do you do? What do you do different? How?
And then know my strengths. Know your strengths, right? You know, like I talk about like what makes me the GOAT in real estate, right? You know, it's I love looking at properties, right? So we're gonna have a ball looking at the properties, visualizing you in your home when you find it. But you know, my strengths are negotiation, and I don't have a fear of asking questions and speaking up, right? Like if my buyer wants something, needs something, is not comfortable about something, then you know, hey, I have no problem asking those tough questions and saying no, we're standing on this. And you know, so my art is negotiation. You have to know where you're strong at. You have to know, you know, and then again, my number one strength is my team, right? So where I am weak, hey, I can get Constance on the phone. Hey, we can talk about this. Marthella, you know, guru in loans, like, you know, so you have to know your strengths and have a strong team behind you. It's
That's
all
it.
the same.
That team is everything. 42% of startups fail because there's no need in the market. So you know that there's a need in the marketplace for what it is that you're doing. 29% because they run out of cash, but 23% of them fail because they don't have the right team. So you got to ask yourself that question. And this is for you people who are starting businesses. You know, if you're a solopreneur, what is it that you're offering? Do you have people that you can rely on? One thing that you said that I think was really important, Jahari, is that you do have to play to your strengths. You do have to do the things. So one thing that I do with Net7, for example, is the first thing that they do is I make them do a strengths assessment. And we go over it. It's their top 5 strengths. It's great. And so we see, and in fact, I did my strengths assessment back in 2013. And I kind of looked at it over the years, kind of glanced at it, but I really looked at it like last month or 2 months ago when we did it. And I was like, yo, this happened in 2013. Since I took this, it was almost like a crystal ball. Like it said stuff that I would be doing, you know, enterprising and things like that. And I was like, oh my God. And I hadn't really looked at it since 2013. But those are my strengths. And if you really understand how to operate in your strengths, because the goal is not to try to work on your weaknesses. Oh, I'm trying to strengthen up my weakness. No, you partner with your weakness. You barter with your weakness. You hire your weakness. You play to your strengths. What is it that you're really, really, really good at? And if you're really, really good at this, then you focus on that. And then you partner with people or you hire people to do the other thing. Think about it is, you know, you can make a mean pork chop, the best south side of Chicago, but it's a pork chop. And if nobody knows about it, then it's not going to sell. So there has to be something about your brand, about what it is that you're selling that stands out. So you got
I like to think of it like Steph Curry's strength is threes, right? He's shooting those all day.
I love that.
He's got the most. But Draymond's strength is bullying them in the key, right? So he doesn't have to worry about bullying people in the key, stepping on people, getting in their minds. He gets to focus on his shot. So,
yep, that's what it is. So you got to think about what are your strengths. How do you play to your strengths? And this is in life, this is in business, this is in relationships, this is in all that stuff. You operate in the thing that you're good at, and then you bring other people. So that's one thing. Marketing, branding. How do you stand out? Jahari talked about in her business, she's great at negotiating. I built my brand, and everybody know what was my brand. What did everybody know about Constance Carter, Jahari?
Nobody works harder.
Nobody works harder than Constance Carter, right? And I was working hard, but whether I was working hard or not, everybody believed it because I said it enough. I spoke that language. So everybody was like, dang, Constance Carter, she working hard again. Nobody works harder. Still to this day, nobody works harder than Constance Carter. They ain't trying to work hard these days and trying to work smart. I'm almost 50. I ain't trying to work hard, right? But that's still because that was part of my brand. That's part of who I was. So you got to think about what is it that you have that you could brand that will stand out to other people as a business owner. What is it? You can't just be another real estate agent. What makes you stand out? What makes me stand out? Shit, I know I'm gonna work with her because I know don't nobody work harder than Constance Carter.
Right.
Because I've said that. Now, again, I might have been the laziest real estate agent in the world, but y'all don't know, because all y'all know is nobody works harder than Constance Carter, because I've constantly said that. That was in repetition. It was on everything. Nobody works hard. Nobody works harder. So that's what people thought. People bought into my brand. And that's what you guys have to do when you're looking at building out your business. That branding piece is important. That's what Pinky did. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a gimmick, but it was a gimmick. There are a ton of, they're in DC. They got a gang of vegan restaurants and vegan burgers and all that stuff doing the same thing as Slutty Vegan. She built her business to $100 million because she had a brand. Because she had something that stood out. There was a novelty. It's kind of like going to Six Flags. It's kind of like going to Disneyland. I want to go to Disneyland because of all the, she created all the frills.
An experience, right? Something, you know, you can say, oh, I went there. I've experienced that before.
Yeah, I could say that. I went to Slutty Vegan and I got sluttified. Right? But right. No, that so what are y'all doing?
It's sold, it sells, it's making money. So yeah, it works.
Yeah. So, you know, listen, we have to make sure that when we're like, failure is a prerequisite to success. Failure is paramount. I have this thing I call the fear factor. And you have to fail. So the F in fear factor is a failure. I failed, filed bankruptcy, divorce, all the stuff. I failed. I have not perfect, right? But that failure was a thing that kind of propelled me to the next level. It helped me to grow. If you're not growing from your failure, then it was all in vain. Even what you were doing before the failure was in vain if you didn't learn from the failure, right? The E in the failure and then the fear factor is embarrassment. If you're not willing to be like, for her to come live, because she didn't have to. There's so many businesses that restructure, and she didn't have to tell everybody what it was she did, because nobody would have known had she not come forward and said, you know, I really want to share this because this is a teachable moment. But that's also very embarrassing. And my thing is, if you ain't willing to be embarrassed for your dream, then you don't want it bad enough, right? I remember Jahari, I don't know if you ever heard the story I tell when I was first driving people. Like when I first got my real estate license, y'all, I had raggedy clothes. I had a Ford Windstar minivan. I had this Sunfire. This little green Sunfire was like rusted. It was like ashy, and it was just horrible. I didn't have the best clothes. I didn't have the best cars. But what I had is I had heart. Like I wanted success so bad that nothing could stop me. I had been commuting over the Altamont 2 hours every single day. I had just moved to Stockton, and I had been commuting, and, I had a little baby, and she was growing up, and I missed all these firsts, and, I was hustling. Right. And so I was like, I'm gonna do whatever I can to become successful in real estate, whatever it was. And I found it was my passion and my purpose, because I was helping people, because my purpose is helping people. And I was driving my little, I had some clients that came up from Oakland, and I had my Ford Windstar minivan, and we driving. And I know, sometimes used to break down, sometimes doors fly open. So I'm driving, I'm making a left turn. So I got this couple, Ty and Linda. Linda's in the front, Ty's in the back. And I make a turn, and that door flies open, and this man is holding on for dear life, trying to keep the door closed as I'm driving in my raggedy ass Ford Windstar minivan.
Hence, no one works harder than Constance Carter.
I was so embarrassed, but and I remember after that transaction at the end, and they still rode with me. It was an older Black couple. They had just sold their house in Oakland, and they came, and so I was so embarrassed. But I remember she said, because she knew I was new. They gave me a shot. This was like my third transaction, and she said, "Constance, I love your spirit. Please don't ever change. Just don't, whatever you do, don't ever change." And in my, 26-year-old mind, I was thinking, well, why would I change? Like, I don't understand. Why would I change? But the essence of who I was, that was what captivated them. And that's what I made sure that I brought, that, that humanness to all of my clients. They know who I was, but also a level of professionalism, right? Because that's important too. And I was just sharing with you, I just went to a listing appointment yesterday with my daughter, and we went to go list a property, and I was just training my daughter on the level of professionalism, because you got to let these people know if you're a business, we're not running no business. And that's what I told her in the car. We don't run businesses. And even though I know this person personally and they want me to list their house, I'm always come professional anyway. I ain't coming. I'm not going to look like this. I'm not going to come like, yo, you know, what we finna do? No, you're going to take me serious as a business owner at all times. That's extremely important. So the E is embarrassment. The R, the A is you have to go all in. There's no plan Bs. What I admire about you, Jahari, is you said, fuck it. Man. I'm going all in.
All the way.
No plan Bs. I retired myself early so I could focus on my dream.
And that's what's up, right?
Yeah.
All the way.
When you're focused, like God is going to honor that. God honors, you know, your commitment to your business. And he's going to continue to honor that. And so when you make a decision to go all in, God's going to do everything he can to make sure that that happens, as long as you are in alignment and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
I believe that. I'm living that, right? You know, but what's R?
R is risks. No risk, no reward.
Taking all of those, right?
Listen, you got to be willing, you know, you might be on that edge, ready to jump and thinking, oh, shoot, I might fall. But what if you grow wings and you start flying? Right. Yeah. What if you soar? What if everything just works out the way it's supposed to work out?
You know, all of those things. I'm learning in my entrepreneurship journey, right? All those things, right? I have a few stories where I'm hustling. I'm out here. I'm showing property. We're driving from Stockton, Lodi, Sacramento. We're taking whole days, you know. It's a journey, it's an experience, but I'm putting in the work. I feel amazing about that, right? I'm doing what I want to do. I'm picking and choosing, and I showed 10 properties today. Mm-hmm. And some people are like, 10 properties, that's way too much. Like, you know, but I'm out here. I'm in the trenches with my clients, right? With my buyers, you know, and I love it because it's letting me know that I can do it. I can do this work. I'm doing this work. And so conquering all those things, that whole fear, and, you know, there are some failures, but it means that this is part of ownership, right? This is part of being an owner. You didn't have to worry about what it was like to fail in certain things as an employee, right? That wasn't on me. But as an owner, this is the business.
It's the journey. It's part of the journey. It's part of the journey. Yeah. Yeah. And that's that's the beautiful thing, because here's the thing that I always tell people work for me, people I coach, is there's a reaping season and there's a sowing season. Right. And so right now you're sowing so that you can reap. When people get to reaping season and they haven't reaped what they sowed, it's for two reasons. Because they're still in sowing season, number one, so they're not ready to reap yet, or they ain't doing what they're supposed to do. Same reason, what they were supposed to do in sowing season to reap the benefits.
Right.
There's a scripture, my favorite scripture, that says, "Don't be weary in well doing, for in due season you will reap your harvest. If you faint not, though." And so a lot of times we'll be sowing, and we get to the point where we were ready to reap, and then we like, you know what? Forget it. I'm giving up because this ain't happening fast enough for me. You know what? Maybe I should be doing something else. Maybe this is not for me. Maybe God really said, because they came, I'll have people to tell me this too. God told me that I'm supposed to be working for you, Constance. And every time people wanted to give up, I'm like, that's what you said, God. I thought you God said that, right? I didn't tell you that, but God said that, right? And if God told you, if he spoke to you and said, this is what your destiny is, this is what you're supposed to be doing, then what are you giving up for? So for the people who are watching, if God put something in your spirit, number one, you need to do it. Be like Nike and just do it. Execute on that shit. Do it. Okay. Number two, you have to sow in order to reap. So you got to keep going. You got to keep doing. You got to keep growing in order for you to get a return on your investment. It's not going to happen. But if you ever seen The Alchemist, if you ever read the book, The Alchemist, he talks about, going sourcing for gold, and you're right at that gold. And then they're right there. You stop sourcing for it. And you're right there.
It's like practice makes perfect, right? You got to keep doing it. You got to show up, put it in the work. Got to be in the gym.
Yes. And that's the thing. And that's why I'm so glad that people that come on here and you watch every day, because that's why I come. I just want to give people valuable information that they could use to actually Take it, go with it, grow with it. That's why we got the Grow Your Money Club. That's why we got the gym. I want to tell you about the Grow Your Money Club right now. Have you joined the Grow Your Money Club yet? If not, why not? The Grow Your Money Club is a comprehensive program designed to take you through the complete wealth building journey. We don't just offer random courses, we guide you along a clear path, starting with fixing your credit and becoming a certified credit expert, to building your business, increasing your cash flow, diversifying your portfolio, and ultimately letting your money work for you. With over 30 trainings designed to increase your net worth, you get to either purchase the trainings individually or go through the 12-month roadmap. Here are just a few of the courses. From campus to cash flows, this is teaching your children to become real estate investors. The Wealth Map training shows you how to eliminate your debt, increase your credit, and diversify your revenue streams. You can learn to write your book using ChatGPT. Learn how to build your online community. What about 8 ways to make money using AI? Oh, and here's 7 online revenue streams to fund your $1 million dream. How about learning how to purchase tax deeds or land banks? What about getting started in government contracting? If you're a rookie, the Real Estate for Rookies training has everything you need. The Business Blueprint training will help you build your business foundation, get business credit, get business funding, and learn how to pay yourself so that you can scale your business to the next level. Or perhaps you want to create jaw-dropping video content using CapCut, Midjourney, and ChatGPT. There are so many trainings and master classes within the Grow Your Money Club, and I also drop 1 new training per month. You do not want to miss out on this opportunity to invest in yourself, because guess what? You are your biggest commodity. You are your biggest investment. Join the Grow Your Money Club today. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why I come live every single day, and I try to give you nuggets that you can use, that you could take, that you can, that you could duplicate. You need training, you need a coach. Just like she said, Michael Jordan wouldn't have won all the rings without Phil Jackson.
Actually,
right? Kobe
he quit that. He left Chicago because they wanted to get rid of Phil. So you get rid of my coach, then I'm leaving.
Right.
And I love how you call it the Grow Your Money Club, because it's the behind the scenes work, right? It's in the gym, like putting in that work. And people always like, oh, they blew up. No, this is putting in the work. This is the knowledge and the information that you need to be top tier, to have 6 rings.
You got to pour into yourself. I mean, it's extremely important that you're continuing to pour in yourself, and so part of failure, what it does is it exposes like weak systems. Okay, I got to restructure. It actually can humble your ego too. And it also forces clarity on why is it that you're doing this? What's my why? Why is it that I'm doing the things that I do? And it forces you to reevaluate, I think, the reason why you do what you do. And, think about Black entrepreneurs are especially told that we got to be twice as perfect just to get half as far. We got to run faster, jump higher, work harder just to be in the game. And I know that that's true, just for being a Black woman. But perfection is a myth, okay?
Right.
You got to be resilient, because that's the thing that's going to be your superpower. So don't worry about perfection. Work, stay resilient, continue, fight through. A lot of people are having problems paying their payroll. A lot of people are, struggling. It looks great. Entrepreneurship looks great. A lot of people come up to me, they be like, I want to be in real estate, or I want to do what you do. You make it look so easy, but they don't see the sleepless nights where we're, worrying about what's going on, or, we're having to, do certain things for our business, or we're having struggles. They don't see that part. They just see, I gave somebody the keys, or they see, this great life that you're living. A large percentage of my children's childhood was me working to create this great life for people, to be able to, impact a lot of other people. But I missed out on a lot of very important moments for my children. I missed my youngest son's first birthday. I missed my baby's first birthday. I was at a leadership thing. I miss first days of school sometimes. It's a sacrifice.
I had a pastor, Pastor Jordan. He would always tell me, stay teachable and correctable, right? That's how you're going to grow.
That's good.
Always stay teachable and correctable. You know what you're doing, but always stay learning. Be teachable, and then when mistakes happen, correct them. And that's, I live by that, right? Like, I'm always learning, and I'm willing to make changes personally, in my business, financially. You got to move. You got to flow with it, right? So, someone says they didn't think that she fail. She just she learned to stay still in the test of time. Like, I really believe that. Like, you have to learn how to move with the waves in business, right? Because it's right now the economy is failing. Like, have you checked your stock lately? Like, it's
man.
normal.
Yeah, right. It's crazy. Yeah. You know, T. Harv Eker said, he said the four most dangerous words are, I already know that.
Man.
How can you grow if you already know? And so that goes back to what you talked about and being teachable. A lot of people aren't teachable. A lot of people think that they've arrived to a place where they don't want the coaching. They don't want, any feedback, constructive feedback. One thing that I thought was good when I watched one of her interviews, she said, Black businesses have a bad reputation of being, having poor service, of, all those things. And she said, when you come to my restaurant, I want you to have an experience. You're not going to have nobody with no bad service, with no attitude or anything like that. It's, you're going to come in here, you're going to have this great experience. That's the reason, that's her secret sauce. Her marketing is her secret sauce.
Right.
She could have the nastiest food, which she doesn't, but she could have the nastiest food in the world. But the fact that she has this great marketing machine, that she's a genius at marketing, y'all, that is going to be the thing that sets your business apart. Is if you can get good, strong marketing, that could be the difference to save your business, because that's going to make you stand out. In a world of purple, what's going to make you green?
Right. Different.
Right.
Authentic.
So I got to get out of here because I got to go. I got another podcast at 1, but I got to go get my new phone. But here's the lesson I want to just leave with you guys. If you're starting a business, start small, right? Scale small. You don't got to do too much. Don't bite off more than you could chew. Okay. Prioritize. This is the catalyst way. This is what we do. We prioritize community over clout. It's not just about a commission. It's about making a difference. What are you doing to give back? If you can help other people build wealth, God is going to bless you to build wealth. If I can help you become a millionaire, guess what God's going to do for me? Okay. So prioritize community over clout in everything you do. And that's how I've always been that was innately in me. Even when I was in IT, it was like, okay, well, how can I help people? Like, because I have to have a reason to get up and go to work every day. There has to be some kind of purpose. So what are you doing for the community, and how can you help the community? Okay. The other thing is, make sure you build your infrastructure before you expand. You want to make sure you have Sophia Russo, Peaky Cole. Make sure that you have everything in place, all the systems you need before you expand. Okay. Embrace failure as a learning tool and not a death sentence. It's not a death sentence. It is not a death sentence. And lastly, you have to secure mentorship. Okay. Have a trusted circle. That's the thing that I love about the Net 7 Collective. You said something last night in our meeting. What did you say in our meeting that you loved about being a part of the group?
I thought when I joined, I thought it was just going to help me structure my business.
You thought it was going to be like very business oriented, just very business.
Right. But it creates a space for creativity. I'm able to say, I want my book on Oprah Book Club, and no one's like, girl, you tripping. You know what I mean? Like, it's a beautiful space, right? I'm able to be authentically me. I'm able to dream and then see those things come together. I always knew what I wanted to do, and I had gotten so far away from that, right? And joining the Net 7, I was able to see that, it's not even that far-fetched. It's not even, it's really nothing. Like, I'm not asking to be the president, but you know what I mean? Like, it's really nothing.
It's doable.
It's doable, and just to do it. And I'm encouraged. I have the support. I have, I'm getting the knowledge, and everyone has questions. So, we get in there, and, we're in the trenches, and I love that. So it's not just about, this is how you structure a business. No, it's like, what do you want to do? Who are you? Who do you want to be? And I have the opportunity to be exactly who I want to be. I have the support. I have a group of girlfriends who say, girl, we got you. Mm-hmm. Oh, I know Oprah.
Right. I mean, it be like that, right? It do be like that, though. You're like,
Like,
what?
oh, I know her.
You know, somebody was like, oh, I want to be in one of our sessions. Somebody was like, I want to be a comedian. Somebody was like, oh, I know the writer for Saturday Night Live. I can help you get, whatever. It's just crazy the amount of resources. But the big thing is the wisdom that's in the room too, right?
Right.
The wisdom that's in the room is crazy. But just when you said that, I thought about somebody a couple of weeks ago. She's one of our younger sisters, right? And so we were going through our branding, and so she was like, she was trying to get this branding thing going. And so I had to say, what is it that you really want to do? Because she was doing what she thought she was supposed to do. But I said, well, what's your heart's desire? What do you really want to do? And I think she was like,
Released it.
Right. I really want to do this. Okay, then let's work on this. Why are we worried about this? Because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. It's what everybody expects me to do. No,
that was like one of the best sessions that day.
Yeah.
It really was.
And so the cool thing is, like, when, even last night when we had Dr. Emma, and she was learning, and Dr. Emma's 81 years old. Okay. Could you tell?
No. And she's so amazing. It was my first time meeting her.
She's love her. So much wisdom. But when I'm teaching her, but everybody's learning, right? So I'm showing her how to do these concepts and these skills. And so everybody's learning. And so that's what it's about. It's an opportunity for everybody to learn. Even if I'm teaching one, if I'm coaching one, I'm coaching everybody, or we're all contributing. And that's the amazingness of Net 7 Collective. And that's the thing that I love about us, is that we just have these dope ass women that are just doing some amazing things in the world. Dee Dee is a lawyer. Yo, and they may be watching this, but Dee Dee's a lawyer, but she's also a screenwriter. So she has some film, some movies that won a bunch of awards. She just did this film festival run. So we have another lady, y'all. We have another lady that has an amazing story. She hijacked a plane. She went on a run for 10 years in Cuba. I mean, just an amazing, amazing story. And so Dee Dee's actually going to be doing her movie, like all right inside that, that encompasses this community of women. I couldn't have dreamed of a better community when God put that in my spirit. And that's the reason why I asked that young lady, what is it that you want to do? And that's what I had to ask myself in that iteration of my life. Constance Carter, Nisi, what is it that you really want to do with this iteration of your life? And it was just to help Black women. And I created something that I needed for myself. So I created this community of Black women from all over the country, from all different walks of life, that are doing some amazing things in the world on their own right. Everybody, right? So there's no, when I told you, when I had the lady introduce what she did, right? Y'all didn't know what anybody did till like 3 or 4 weeks in, because we don't lead with what is it to do. That's real. Like I'm in DC, right? And that's the first thing they ask you out here, because everybody out here is all about clout. Where you live? Where you live? Oh, you live over there? Well, what part over there? I get that. Where you live? In Bowie. Well, what part of Bowie? Would you live on this side, or you live by the country club? I live by the country club. Oh, now I got your.
Cool now.
I'm good now, but I don't even lead with that, right? So I don't allow people to lead with what they do. It's all about who you are. And as we get into it, and as we grow as sisters, and we learn who each other are, what you do? I hijacked a plane. What? I couldn't wait for y'all to hear. I didn't tell nobody. I just wanted everybody to be surprised. I couldn't wait. Because when she told me that, when I interviewed her, I was like, well, we gotta write a book.
And she brings so much clarity to the meetings too, because we'll be on our own. She'll be like, you ain't gonna be able to do that. Have you thought about that?
Everybody comes from everybody has their own different places. She did 10 years in prison, in federal prison, and works with a lot of ex-offenders. So she has a different approach at life. But that's what I love. Somebody said something last night. I think it was Dr. Emma. Here you have these Black women, and what did she say? You have some that do this and some that are. Oh yeah, what? Like, where else can you have? What did she say?
This group. She said something about the mesh of all of us. You got some ex-cons, you got some doctors, you got some lawyers. Right. We got legal on both sides. We've got techs. we've got
but
people who analyze for a living, so that
right.
I mean, it's a well-run, oiled machine. The
Yeah.
Net 7.
But Black women with a common goal and a common focus, because we're not a monolith. Black,
Right.
so it's a place where everybody belongs. Now it's so funny because April did say last night, because April had told me, just let everybody in. Why are you interviewing people? Just take their money. Like, she didn't say just take their money, but she said just take their money, right? And I don't. For me, all money is not good money. Synergy is so important. Community is so important. Culture is so important. So there are people that I didn't allow to be a part of the Net 7, and it's not like that. It's not. But energy is important, right? Because creating a safe space is important. I share a lot. You know, we all share, you know, our personal things, but and so she said last night, she was like, I was wrong. You know, I hate to, I mean, I finally admit that I was wrong, because yeah, no, we can't have just anybody up in here. Absolutely not. But that's what makes it so valuable, is that, you know, we have these women who were hand selected, really, but because they were like-minded in spirit.
That's for the people who weren't hand selected, or are not part of the Net 7, you know, men or whatever, then you can still get the training through the Grow Your Money Club, right? You can still get some of the technical things. You're not going to get the creative space that we get in the Net 7, but the things that we are learning are still offered through Grow Your Money.
Amen. So the person who is the lawyer who actually is also a screenwriter. We're gonna have her on here real soon, because she's also in the book. But check this out.
When I tell you, it has been so much worth, so much more than I could even imagine to spend. Even the position I told you, that the position that I have, I was recently hired as legal counsel for Roots Public Charter School in DC. And part of the things that I said in my interview, part of a program that I created based on some tools that you taught me about, that I was able to tell them, look, I've already created these, or I think I told them I can create these. I had already created these programs for the teachers and for the administrators or whatever. Part of that is what got me that position. The stuff that I learned from Constance. Got this book, you know, Unbreakable. We did this thing in.
So the thing I love about that is, when she came, she was just like, you know, I live a good life. I'm an attorney. I make a lot of money, but I got to build my retirement, because I make a lot of money, but I live a good life. And so what we helped her do is create another revenue stream. So now that's her retirement.
Right?
Dope.
She's teachable and correctable, right? She's learning new technology.
Yeah,
you know,
and she implements. She's an executor like crazy. I'll teach her something. The next week she'll have a whole commercial. Whoa, okay, go,
right.
DD. Yes,
she's growing, expanding. It's beautiful.
And then Dr. Emma.
When I joined the Net 7, I had no idea of Constance's connection. I met a group of women that changed my life. But Constance showed me when you get one-on-one coaching with.
So real quick about Dr. Emma. Dr. Emma is, I don't know if you guys know Dr. George Fraser. He's one of the smartest thought leaders in the country, one of my mentors. That's his sister, Emma Fraser Pendleton. But she is one of the smartest, most wisest people that I've ever met in my life. And I coach her one-on-one, but she's literally like coaching me, really, right? When we do our one-on-one coaching, like I'm coaching her, you know, I could teach her some things, but
I felt like we got therapy last night.
Right, her. But the great thing about Dr. Emma, that it just validates it even more, is Emma's around everybody. Like when I came into the Power Networking Conference fold, she was one of the thought leaders that was, you know, teaching and coaching, and I was part of her coaching program. And she said this Net 7 was the best coaching program she had ever been in her life. And she's around the best, the biggest, the brightest, all the people she knows. And so for her to give us that validation, she texted me this morning and was like, Constance, what you have created is absolutely amazing. You know, she told Dr. Fraser, she told Linda Clemens, like, this was the best money I've ever spent. So, you know, it's just, I just believe in pouring into people. I don't believe in gatekeeping. I don't believe in keeping anything to myself. I've done some great things and I've made some huge mistakes, and I just want to help Black people. Y'all, that is my mission and my goal in life, is to help Black people. So that's what we are. That's what we're doing. We're going to get out of here. Oh, shit. I was trying to get out of here early because I got to go to the T-Mobile store to go get me another phone before this other thing starts. But We're gonna be back tomorrow. We're gonna talk about probably some love or some shit. I don't know. April's gonna be here tomorrow. So we'll see what we're gonna be talking about tomorrow. But we love for you to talk back to us and talk black to us. And we're gonna see you tomorrow. Make sure the Grow Your Money Club, that is for you. That is for you to get connected with all the things that you need, all the tools that you need that's going to help you to grow your wealth and grow your money and not blow your money. And if you are a black woman or you know a black woman, listen, we want you to be a part of our community for the Net 7 Collective. Let's schedule an appointment for us to talk and see, you know, I'm sure you're a great fit. I'm sure you are. It's rare that you're not, but there are some that aren't. Just because I want to make sure that we continue to create the safe space, because that's so important. That's so important. So if you are a black woman or you know a black woman, go to net7bbs.com and let's schedule an appointment for us to talk about it and see if this is something that can help benefit you or serve you in some way. Jahar, you got anything? Any last minutes? Where can they find you? What you doing out in Stockton, California, Sacramento? What you doing over there?
Selling houses all day. You can find me at Jahari_Williams_realtor on Instagram. Follow me on YouTube. Go to JahariWilliams.com.
So this is your Instagram, Jahari_Williams_realtor.
I believe so. Yep.
All right. You want to buy or sell a house in Northern California? Jahari got you. And for me, you know, I'm hiring in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and California. So we have a great team. And we're doing some amazing things. Best tools, best training, best coaching, best agents, all of that. So if you know anybody who's looking to get into the real estate business, holla.